Les Jones, Roger Ayers, Brian Kersey are your officials.
Well, I thought coming in, Tim, I mean, they were certainly the deepest team and the healthiest team. So really, they were tournament ready coming in, and here they are in the final. Interesting matchup right now. Reggie Bullock always gets the toughest assignment out on the perimeter. He's matched up with Michael Snaer.
Louchs takes it at the hoop, tough hoop, and makes it Florida State on the board.
He has been one of their best players in this tournament. He hit some big free throws against Miami.
Battle for the rebound, and Florida State comes away with it.
Louchs also hit a big shot against Duke. He's been a big end-game guy. He's averaged over double figures in the tournament.
Tyler Zeller fouled out of the semifinal game yesterday. He still had a good ball game. He's had 13 double-doubles this year. Here's an alley-oop inside, a little bit too high. Gibson just couldn't get to it. This is the part of the game, Mike, I'm assuming you just want to ease your way into the game, get used to it. Barnes right at the rack. We're tied.
Well, and he's been average in this tournament. Only 15 points a game, has not shot the ball particularly well. I look for him to have a big game in the final.
Michael Snaer stepped on the line, long outlet pass.
There's the shot, and he's just, not afraid to go in and absorb contact. He goes right to the chest of Xavier Gibson. John Henson wanted the and one.
We saw John Henson get hurt on Friday, injured that wrist, came out, warmed up, was very effective warming up, much better than yesterday where he was tried to hold a basketball, couldn't, so he came out in his street clothes. He's ready today if there is an emergency.
And, you look at it, Michael Snaer, all defensive team, and Florida State's philosophy with Kendall Marshall is a little bit different. They want to try to put a lot of pressure on him, really cut down his vision, and Snaer is a terrific one-on-one defender.
Louchs jumps out on Barnes. Back to Barnes beyond the arc. Big rebound, and that's rebound number 2 for Bernard James. Snaer right to the hoop.
Michael Snaer.
Looking to get out of tempo. That was a nice look ahead by Louchs to get him in the open floor.
Reggie Bullock back to Marshall. Shot clock has not been a factor. Zeller inside. A whistle and a foul.
It's going to be critical for North Carolina for Tyler Zeller to stay in the game. You mentioned the fact that he fouled out yesterday. He can't do that in this game, and I would think that for Florida State, they may try to attack him in the post with Gibson or whoever he's guarding.
Foul number 1 for Luke Louchs. The crowd is just settling in as well. Here's Kendall Marshall, takes it at the basket and scores. It opened up like the Red Sea.
Got a couple of 20-point games in the last 4 in the regular season. We talked about it. He's been more aggressive in looking for his offense.
Louchs looked at the 3. Snaer running one-hander is good.
That's his favorite shot. He loves that floater in the lane. Without Henson in there, that North Carolina is going to look to take charges.
Almost taken away by Louchs. Barnes strong. And Zeller with a follow.
He's had a terrific tournament. Has gotten to the free throw line a lot. Has been very solid for this team.
James couldn't follow up the Louchs miss. Instead goes back to him and he scores, and we are a 2-point game again.
Well, I look at it, and James, a left-handed player, has got an injured thumb on that hand, and I think everybody's a little dinged up at this point in the tournament, but he's playing through it.
Zeller gets caught in a double team. Still loose. Barnes tries to save it. It'll belong to Florida State.
This is where McAdoo can be a factor. If they're going to double off of him, he's got to get on the offensive glass or be ready to catch inside for a pass. Zeller very good at interior passing.
Pretty quick pace early on, Mike.
Yeah, well, North Carolina's going to run with it, and they want to get out in the open floor too. And I think that Florida State will probably be more opportunistic doing it off of steals or turnovers.
Bernard James goes out of the ball game. John Kreft comes in. Kreft, a 7-foot senior from Coral Springs, Florida. So look at the early shooting. Very up-tempo. And that bucket will count.
Ian Miller has to have a big game for them. He was terrific against Miami, 18 points, but only had 7 points and fouled out against Duke. And everybody just getting hung up on the screen that time, and a good back cut by Ian Miller.
So Miller finishes strong. He has one more coming. He's an 80% free throw shooter and makes that. So Ian Miller in the box score. Florida State with its largest lead, 11-6. Just underway at Phillips Arena. Tim Grant, Mike Trubisky with you. This is Bullock for three. And a nice follow by Tyler Zeller.
Well, Zeller it was said that he was the only one who really competed in the game down in Tallahassee in that blowout, and he is having his way inside here early on.
Back to Louchs, looks inside. Gibson, short jumper.
In North Carolina, you'll settle for that shot. Gibson can knock it down. Better that than having him put pressure on you in the post.
Marshall looked inside to Zeller, and Miller kicked it away. In that first game back in January, it was David Louchs who went 8 for 10 beyond the arc in that win over Carolina. 8 threes. He was 10 for 12 from the field. Huge game, spectacular, almost historical game. And here's a whistle and a foul, and Bullock can go to the line to shoot two. The foul should be on Louchs.
Well, and that game was an aberration for Louchs. I mean, he hasn't replicated it since, but that doesn't matter. He had a big game at the right time.
Reggie Bullock had 15 points against Maryland Friday. Really solid performance. Played well again yesterday. 83% free throw shooter, and that's his first point of the game.
The thing is, when Roy Williams was talking about that when Strickland went down, they found out that Reggie Bullock could replace him, especially on the defensive end, but they haven't found anybody to replace Bullock off the bench.
Bullock misses the second one, and Kreft comes down with it. Louchs looks at it. Instead goes to Miller. Good job by Florida State to get back defensively, and Barnes still takes it at the hoop.
Well, Gibson got buried on that play. It was late coming back, and one of the things, Harrison Barnes does have the ability to carry the ball off the dribble end to end.
Barnes being very aggressive here early in the ball game. Louchs frees up. Good job by Barnes to get back there. Kreft knocks it away and gets it to Miller.
Nice play that time to jam the rebounder.
Louchs, yes!
Well, he might be having a flashback. He's a much better player when he knocks down his first shot.
Marshall, step back, strong. Zeller tries to clean it up. Kreft with another rebound. That's 2 for Kreft. Game's got a good pace to it.
Leonard Hamilton trying to use bodies out there is already 3 deep into his bench.
Gibson inside, offensive foul. That'll be the first on Xavier Gibson. 14:36 to play in the first half. 14-11, Florida State. January 14th, Florida State beat North Carolina 90-57. In that game, David Louchs, as we said, 8 for 10 beyond the arc, 10 for 12 overall. Mike, you say it was an aberration, but it was an incredible performance.
And Florida State has had a history of playing well against North Carolina and Duke. A huge win for them, but they just, Roy Williams said they just didn't compete, and they flat out stunk in that game, and the numbers bear that out. You see the free throws, 9 of 20, only 4 of 21 from 3. They didn't shoot the ball well. 57 points, you know, if that's not a season low, it's close for this program, but it was very much, in a lot of ways, was a wake-up call for these guys, and they've played extraordinarily well since.
Roy Williams' worst loss in his 9 years at his alma mater. That game now in the history books, and I think both coaches are correct when they say history won't repeat itself. This is now the ACC Championship, an entirely different game. Here's a quick early stats of the ball game. 3-point lead, Barnes for 2. It's strong, and Snaer comes down with another rebound.
Already 5 field goal attempts for him, so he is really aggressively looking for his offense.
Thrown away, Peterson, Barnes. Zeller!
I'll tell you what, Justin Watts has been terrific off the bench for this team. He's done a lot of the little things out there. He's played power forward for them and point guard. I don't know if there's another player who's played those two positions in a game.
He made one of the biggest plays of the game yesterday when he forced a turnover. Richard Howe was all alone underneath down the stretch. This is Miller for two.
He has been a difference maker for Florida State since he's come into the lineup.
Full court pressure, and it bothered Carolina. Watts calls timeout.
Timeout, North Carolina. A 30-second timeout.
Well, here's what they want to do, get out in the open floor, and Watts makes a nice play here, draws the defense to him and allows Zeller to get the dunk. There's the one we talked about. Barnes has been carrying the ball off the dribble in the backcourt a lot in this game. Ian Miller, he needs to have a big game for this team. We talked about 18 points in the first game against Miami. Roy Williams not happy about that timeout. The reason being everybody else on the team fell asleep. They were trying to inbound the ball, and Florida State did a good job of pressuring the receiver.
Great atmosphere in here. 18,371 strong for the 59th annual ACC Championship game. Florida State comes back with the full court pressure. This time they put Marshall back there. No problem breaking it. He'll just come up. Not strong pressure, just out there to bother him.
I like the, that matchup that Snaer has the size to really disrupt Marshall's vision.
Marshall picked up his dribble. That's unusual for him. Gets it to Watts. Back to Marshall. Marshall takes it right to the basket. Little spin move. He's got 4 points.
Roy Williams talked about as the season went along. He wanted him to look for a shot a little bit more. Teams have been doubling off him. He's made them pay with three-pointers, but he's been attacking the rim in this game.
1 point game. James got a little bit of a rest. He's back in now. Peterson looks for him, but he's covered. James now pops out front. Shot clock is down to 7. Peterson drives. That's a tough drive against Zeller. Watts tried to take a charge, and it was. The ACC Digital Network gives fans access anytime, anywhere. Selection Sunday's finally here. We want you to join us as host Kyle Montgomery and former UNC Tar Heel J.R. Reed discuss the ACC teams that will be dancing and how far they can go. For exclusive coverage of the ACC teams and this year's NCAA tournament, just visit theACCDN.com. What do you think, Mike?
I think 5 from the ACC. I think NC State, what they're showing in this tournament, it definitely deserves to be in. And the other 4 is pretty much locks with Virginia and Duke, North Carolina, and Florida State.
Miami's been on that bubble for the last month. You don't think they get in? Of course, that Durant-Scott situation makes that very difficult.
Yeah, the whole thing with the NCAA, I just think it makes it very difficult for the committee to pick them. Too much uncertainty.
Carolina got its first lead of the game, and Snaer took it right back from him. 19-17, Seminoles.
He has really elevated his play in this tournament.
Barnes sees an alley, splits the difference and banks it in.
He's a really tough cover and a tough matchup for Florida State. They're trying to play him with small players right now.
James banks it in right over top of Zeller.
That's what you want to do, make him play defense. That time James finishing with his right hand.
Up-tempo pace early on. Snaer knocks it out of bounds. It will belong to the Tar Heels. 11:25 to play in the first half. Snaer, Marshall, oh my.
Florida State ahead by 2. And Kendall Marshall has really aggressively looked for his offense early on, and not jump shots. He's been attacking the rim, getting inside, doing it off the dribble. He's 3 of 4 from the floor, 6 points, no assists so far, Tim. In the game down in Tallahassee, probably one of his worst performances this year. 6 points, 7 turnovers in that game.
Well, this game already, Mike, has had 5 ties, 2 lead changes in the first 8.5 minutes. The Noles lead it 21-19. Seminoles trying to knock off their second top 10 team in 2 days. For Carolina, this is the only ACC team they haven't beaten this year. Marshall doing a great job with his penetration today. This game tipped by James, back to Louchs. Donkey's way outside. Oh, he looked at it. Snaer takes it and buries it.
Well, Michael Snaer seeing a big basket, and a lot of times when you spend energy defensively, it takes away from your offensive game, but he's getting it done both ends of the floor.
Snaer averaged only 8 points his first 2 years in Tallahassee. He now averages 14, and he's off to a great start in double figures here this afternoon.
You see a huge advantage from the three-point line for Florida State. That's not a big part of North Carolina's arsenal.
Donkey steps back. 3 more. Largest lead of the game for the Noles.
This keeps up. It's going to be tough for North Carolina to keep pace.
Zeller goes up strong and is fouled, so he'll go to the line to shoot 2.
Coming on there. This is actually Bullock right there. Just didn't have his hands up, and then in transition, Louchs on the step back right there. It's tough to find guys in transition. You've got to run to him to the line. With already 4 threes, 8-0 run for Florida State.
That's lethal when those guys start hitting those threes. Zeller felt the urgency and took it right at the hoop, and he makes his first. He now has 7. Closed captioning for the ACC Basketball Championship provided by Bojangles' famous chicken and biscuits. It's bow time. And he misses the second. Just about midway of the first half, Snaer takes it at the hoop, and Zeller comes away with it. 5 rebounds for Tyler Zeller, who really came to play today. This ball was last touched by Carolina. It'll belong to Florida State. We'll keep you updated with all the scores from around the country on this Selection Sunday.
A big one in the Big Ten, Michigan State and Ohio State. Kentucky, see if they can finish off their season with a win against Vanderbilt.
Boy, they just barely got by Florida with that 3-point win, huh? This is an offensive foul. No, correction. That was a block.
And this is it's a big start for the backcourt for Florida State. Michael Snaer has been terrific, and Ian Miller has gotten off to a quick start.
So the foul is...
Yeah, you see him just slide, and Miller did a good job to go laterally as well. That was a good call.
So McAdoo picks up his first. Miller goes back to the line. Ian Miller with 7 points. Rattles that one out. The lead will stay at 9. Barnes, quick first step. They still double it. Back to Marshall. To McAdoo, who backs it in. His first basket.
Kendall Marshall's been able to get into the lane anytime he wants, either for the finish. That time he just drew the defense there, and McAdoo, all you have to do with Marshall is have your hands ready to catch.
Marshall's at his best. He's Houdini. He finds guys everywhere. Kreft with a jump hook.
They've had really good success going down in the low post. A lot of things working well offensively for Florida State.
Foul. He'll go to the line to shoot 2.
Xavier Gibson. His second. Team
foul is on Xavier Gibson. So that's 2 on the big fella. And Harrison Barnes is a 73% free throw shooter. First team all conference. Makes the first. Got the feeling, Mike, they're going to have to be strong at the line and have a high percentage at the line today to compete.
Well, we talked about it, 9 of 20 in the game down in Tallahassee. Certainly much better than that. But this is not a great free throw shooting team for North Carolina.
Barnes gets them both. especially with John Henson out.
But Barnes is you get the sense that he's a big game player. He loves moments like this. He loves the big stage. Now a little 2-3 zone for North Carolina. Try to avoid, and they did this in a couple of possessions yesterday just to try to rest give guys a break from fouls.
Here's Dolkey's frees up. Kreft gets it back to Dolkey's. Oh! How about that?
Dolkey's doing it all, and everybody taped up. Carl White has his left wrist taped up, but that was a good catch and finish.
How did White come so free? Barnes gets it back. 3 guys around him. Marshall. Really causing problems for North Carolina right now. Very aggressive defense, which Florida State is known for. Marshall throws it back. They're out of sync. Barnes walks.
Yeah, a lot of one-on-one basketball, but Florida State does such a good job of shutting down passing and driving lanes.
They make their money, they make their success with defense. And again today, it's defense, followed by the 3-ball.
Let's take a look at the AT&T fast analysis and points in the paint. Both teams, Tim, making a concerted effort to attack inside, establish the low post, and they've also done a lot of driving the lane, dribble drive penetration. It's equal at 18-18. The difference in this game so far, though, is 4 3-pointers for Florida State.
Yeah, no question about it. They're 4 of 7. Carolina 0 for 2 beyond the arc. And Florida State shooting almost 67% from the field.
And that's the thing. You talked about how good Florida State is defensively. That's a constant for this team. When they're scoring and shooting the ball well, that's when they are really, really tough to beat.
North Carolina had that 33-point loss, which has been well documented. We continue to talk about it in Tallahassee. But they've used that as a motivator. It was all over the locker room. They've got to now keep in this game in the first half. They do not want to fall behind like they did down there, because then the game completely changed. 7:40 to play in the first half.
Michael Snaer getting the rest, so these are big minutes for Miller and Dolkey's.
And there's a turnover. Marshall gets it to the outlet pass early on. Bullock takes it at the rack, and he's fouled.
Live ball turnovers just fuel North Carolina's fast break. You really have to be careful with your cross-court passes. That was good pressure out front, and Carl White has to do a little better job coming to the basketball.
It's 2 on White. Reggie Bullock, an 83% free throw shooter. That's the last part of last season with that torn meniscus, but he's had great minutes here this season and this tournament.
And that's the thing. Carl White's going to be in there at the end of the game. He has played well in this tournament, and he has played better this year when they moved him from the small forward to the power forward position. But that's another area where Florida State can absorb fouls with different people because they're so deep.
Bullock cuts the lead to 8. And the 6'7" sophomore from Kinston has 3 points now. And it's a 7-point game.
Vanderbilt under Kevin Stallings having a very good early game. And Kentucky has not blown away the competition in the SEC tournament this year. They've had some very tough games. Maybe that would be the best thing for them, Tim. They kind of waltzed through the regular season.
Carolina lost to Kentucky by 1 in December. Would love to get another shot of them in the tournament. Louchs looks at the shot clock. It's down to 10. Snaer goes to the baseline. Barnes pushes it hard. Marshall for 3. McAdoo has his block, and Louchs comes away with it. And the outlet pass to Miller. Miller from way outside, off to the left.
Bullock is going to be very far from him. He draws the best shooter on the floor out there. And he did a nice job contesting that shot.
Zeller stepped right into the double team. They doubled down on him. He never saw it. Spun into it. Louchs for 3.
Les Jones confirming that call by Roger Ayers. No need to go over to the monitor. And Florida State has been very content to play up and down with North Carolina in this game. I tell you, Louchs has had a terrific tournament.
10-point Florida State lead, matches the largest. Zeller pops out front. Zeller banks it in. How good is that?
Yeah, and you know, they like Kendall Marshall can go either way. That time he was coming from the left side, so he has to go right, but still makes a nice pass. That's a good two-man game.
They play that two-man game. They're hard to stop. Snaer with a running one-hander. You said he likes that shot. We've already seen it a couple times.
5 of 7 from the floor.
This will belong to Florida State. Let's go over to Debbie.
Well, guys, Coach Williams was upset yesterday about NC State being the better transition team on the floor. That's his game. NC State outscored them 17-7 yesterday. Right now, Florida State is outscoring North Carolina 14-4 in their transition game.
All right, Debbie, thank you for that.
Well, that's, you know, a lot of times, Debbie, you know, the teams that run don't necessarily like to be run on. And Florida State has been very opportunistic pushing the ball.
Jeff Peterson back in the game for Florida State. Gibson, offensive. So Gibson picks up his 3rd personal foul with 5:17 to play in the first half.
That's how the complexion of this team has changed. Without Henson, the shot blocker, they really look to take charges. Yeah, good call that he anticipated it coming back to the left hand, stood his ground well.
So a good defensive stop by North Carolina. We'll see if they can turn it into points.
Nice now for John Kreft out on the floor. Not a great scorer, but is a presence down the other end.
Louchs takes it back up to Marshall.
He and Zeller are really battling down low.
Marshall got caught in the air. Bullock for 3. Florida State comes away with it. I almost said maybe outside his range. This foul will be called on Ian Miller. That'll be Miller's first.
They look inside here, and one of the things that Florida State will do, they are committed to fronting the low post, and Kreft really battling Zeller down low. Then at the end of the play, did a nice job of fighting him off. Really kind of gave himself up as a rebounder, but did a nice job of checking Zeller off the glass.
Stillman White in the ball game for North Carolina. So Kendall Marshall will get a little rest. White's gotten a lot of minutes in this tournament.
He has done a pretty good job too, filling in. They're just trying to get right around that 4-minute TV timeout to get Kendall Marshall a few minutes on the bench, and Roy Williams will do that especially in the first half.
Reggie Bullock now with 5 points. And it's an 8-point game. Carolina faithful come to their feet. Ball kicked out of bounds by White. Justin Watts will check in for McAdoo. So James Michael McAdoo gets a breather. Ten on the shot clock. Louchs takes it by himself. Kreft with a follow. And he's fouled.
We talked about an important time for John Kreft. He made that play happen by setting his screen, and then even on the miss, stays in with the play. Watch this. This kind of guy actually got pushed into Zeller that time, but a good finish through the physical play.
So John Kreft getting his minutes here today at the line.
He's got incredible physical tools, Tim, and you wonder, where is this play? And he's stepping up at a big moment right now.
Even his shot looks good today. He only averages 2 points a game. He's got 5 already in the championship. Bullock, strong. Great hustle by Tyler Zeller. .339 to play in the first half. 11-point lead for the Noles. You are watching the ACC Network, an exclusive production of Raycom Sports. This championship game and the post-game press conference will be streaming live on the ACC.com. Let's go over to Debbie. I see you by that huddle. What's Roy telling him?
Boy, Coach Williams is really upset right now. I mean, he's trying to infuse his own competitive spirit on his team. He said, if you want me to come out there and play and show you how to do it, I will. He might be upset that no team has shot better than 50% from the floor against his team in a half, and right now, Florida State's at 61.
Debbie, you're right, and they've been shooting that way since the very beginning of this game. Look at Roy during that timeout.
Well, that's just, they need to concentrate. It was interesting. The crowd was standing up and cheering them when they were on the defensive end of the floor, and that's what they need to address to try to make some stops in the half court against Florida State.
David Istolke stepped on the line down here, so Carolina has it. New 35. That's what Debbie's talking about right there, folks. And the turnover by Carolina.
Offensive foul.
And it's going to be on Watts, his first. So you have the feeling that Carolina's just trying to hold together here in this first half and survive.
Well, it's, the thing is that everybody's rolling for Florida State on the perimeter, and Bullock can't guard all of them. So it's, he's focusing on one guy, and the others have stepped up.
There's another turnover, and Watts gets out and runs, but has it taken back, and he's fouled. Watts may be hurt.
Pick him up, and he got bailed out on the foul that time, maybe trying to do a little bit too much off the dribble.
Foul is on Michael Snaer, but it looks like they may have hit knees. Bam.
Right there, yeah, right there.
So Justin Watts goes to the line, 6'5" senior from Durham. Carolina with no bench points today. Florida State has had 14. There's the first. Let's go to Debbie.
Well, guys, Justin Watts has been known as the glue guy all year. Now he's the defensive guy. He made the game-saving steal against NC State yesterday, and also in yesterday's game. He played significant minutes at the point when Kendall Marshall got in foul trouble in the first half. He also played significant minutes in the post when Zeller fouled out. Coach Williams said he's never had a player play that many minutes at 2 varying positions in the same game.
This call is against P.J. Hairston. That's his first.
Well, you talk about scoring on the bench. It's 14-0 Florida State, but Hairston is the guy who's most likely to come in and give them a lift, especially from the three-point line. So the leading scorers for Florida State: Snaer with 12, Miller 7, Louchs with 6, all on the perimeter.
Louchs, yes.
You think he likes to play against North Carolina?
Man,
seeing a big basket, he's a different player when he knocks down his first shot.
That's a block.
And it's you know what, the Snaer blocked the jump shot by Dawkins yesterday.
Snaer for 3.
How about that, both ends of the floor? Blocking a jump shot and then coming down and knocking a 3.
Roy Williams calls a timeout immediately.
I haven't seen Roy Williams call this many timeouts and a half in a long time.
Mike, they just are trying to hold on to this first half. Right now, Florida State has them reeling. The question begs, can Florida State shoot at this high percentage for the entire game?
Well, you know, you would think the answer is no, but right now Florida State feeling very good about themselves. You can see the body language by Louchs is incredible. Here's the look. I mean, Michael Snaer just looking to throw some early knockout punches. It's the first half. There's a lot of basketball to be played, but this team is 7 of 12 from behind the arc.
That's incredible. Championship Sunday. The Noles trying to knock off their second top 10 team in 2 days. The Noles last won a conference championship in 1991. That was the Metro Conference. They beat Louisville. Louisville won the Big East tournament last night. Can Florida State win the ACC here today?
Look at how active Louchs' hands are trying to disrupt the vision.
Back out front. Barnes with a three. He has 11 points.
That's the first North Carolina three of the game. Talked about it. He may have to put this team on his shoulders in the last 2 minutes to get that lead under double figures.
Here's your 2-minute warning. Boy, they triple out on Louchs. Gilkey's alone. Air ball. Marshall with a great look to Barnes.
How did he see through that? That was right on our sight line, and I have no idea how he picked up Harrison Barnes.
Nothing run by the Tar Heels. Timeout, Florida State.
It's a good timeout by Leonard Hamilton. North Carolina getting on a little bit of a run. He saw that that possession was really going nowhere, so he wants everybody to get on the same page here. Watch this. I mean, he's anticipating. It's like a quarterback throwing to a spot that the receiver hasn't gotten to yet. He knew Barnes was going to be open and led him perfectly.
Pretty good nickname, Butter.
Spreads it around.
This foul will be called on Kendall Marshall. Being a little too aggressive. And they have to be right now.
Well, this is a, you know, you got to bring energy if you're North Carolina to the defensive end of the floor and then let your offense feed off of that. Florida State was much too comfortable in running their stuff in the first 17 minutes of this half. North Carolina going to a little bit of a run and jump now to try to get Florida State out of rhythm.
1:10 to play in the first half. First half has had a frenetic pace. Both teams want to get to the locker room. Shot clock is down to 10. Illegal pick by James. That'll be the first on Bernard James.
Excellent call by Brian Kersey that time, and you've got to come to a stop as a screener, and he never did.
A reminder coming up at halftime, we'll have analysis, highlights, stats, and a whole lot more for you, all coming up on the Hardee's halftime report. Mike Hogwood, Corey Alexander will bring you up to date. The other tournaments.
They have been a hard-working duo in this tournament. Done a terrific job carrying the action.
Marshall right to the rack.
Nice response out of that timeout for North Carolina.
Tar Heels have cut the lead to single digits. .35 on the game clock, 21 on the shot clock.
Late high screen roll for Florida State.
Louchs let it go down to 10. Back to Kreft. Well designed.
Yeah, he's been terrific. That was a great play by Louchs, but John Kreft has stepped up.
Shot clock is off. 5 seconds left. Barnes. Good if it goes. Not even close. What a great first half by Barnes for North Carolina. He's got 15 points. Snaer has 15 for Florida State. It was a 9-2 run since that timeout that you mentioned that Roy Williams took.
There's a nice screen roll at the end of the clock. Weak side defense not really there. Kreft with his hands up, ready to catch. He's very athletic and finishes at the rim. Down the other end, this is a nice block. Harrison Barnes has found his mid-range game. 9 of 25 in the tournament coming in, but shooting at a very high percentage.
High-scoring first half, 49-40. Mike and Corey after this.
With him.
The final 20 minutes of the 59th annual ACC basketball tournament now underway. Carolina down 9, has it first. Back to Marshall, who looks at the three. Barnes had the hot hand in the first half.
Look at Carl White all over Kendall Marshall, doing a great job defensively.
Shot clock down to 10. Marshall penetrates and missed in close.
What a terrific defensive sequence for Carl White.
Now we'll see what kind of energy Florida State comes out with. They started the game with such high energy and played with great confidence all through that first half.
You can see they switched Bullock off to Louchs, and now Harrison Barnes is on Snaer.
0 for 1 here, Florida State to start the second half. The long outlet is intercepted.
First turnover of the game for Marshall, but he only has 4 assists, Tim.
Tried to hit McAdoo down the other end. Here's James with a little jump hook. He now has 6 points.
It's been so solid for them in this tournament.
Lead back to 11. Florida State had that lead up to 16. Roy Williams called that timeout. Carolina made a run to cut the lead to 9 at the half. McAdoo gets his own rebound and shoots again. Barnes cleans it up.
Yeah, nice sequence. That's the first time that North Carolina's been very active on the offensive glass.
17 points for Harrison Barnes. Louchs from way outside.
That was about 2 steps beyond his range.
But 5 steps beyond the NBA three. Here's Snaer, gets it back.
Well, it's almost like James baited him into that play. He had a sense of where it was, and Marshall tried to throw it over the top, but it wasn't a good lob. They've limited Tyler Zeller's touches in this game too, Tim.
Louchs right where he left off the first half. He's got 12, another 3 ball.
And that is bad news for North Carolina. And this team, the bench, really fired up to see David Louchs knocking them down.
Bullock will take a 3. Oh, great follow by Zeller.
They have 2 consecutive offensive rebounds now. They've got to get stops.
Can't trade 2 for 3s. Louchs again around the pick. A little give and go. McAdoo takes it away. McAdoo for 2. And Louchs with the rebound. Neither team really has the energy to start the second half that the game started with. Zeller with another rebound.
At this point, second half of the finals, Tim, you're running on adrenaline. The good thing for each of these teams, they're evenly matched, though. Nobody had to play on Thursday, so only 2 games behind them.
Marshall gets it back with 15 on the shot clock. Down to 10 on the shot clock. and his shot is blocked.
It's been a lot of individual effort. It's unlike North Carolina. They only have 5 assists in this game, so a lot of one-on-one play.
Snaer yells out, reset it, so Louchs does. And a whistle and a foul. This will be card on Barnes. That's 4 on Barnes. Correction, that's his first. We'll be back. Just to make it perfectly clear, Harrison Barnes with just 1 personal foul. Marshall with 4 assists, Mike.
See David Louchs is over here in the corner, and you'll see 2 screens, one here, and the ball movement off here is going to get him a nice little jump shot. Harrison Barnes on him, the first screen right there by White. James cleans it up, gives him enough room, and that is a well-executed play.
And for Florida State, that is 8 3-point baskets in this ball game. North Carolina, their only lead was 17-16. They trailed by as many as 16 points in this game. Cut the lead to single digits at half. And it's 10 right now. Another 3 by Ian Miller.
You asked if that shooting was going to be able to continue at that pace, and so far, Florida State making a liar out of me.
Zeller takes it at the basket, and the whistle on the foul. So Zeller will go to the line to shoot 2. Tyler Zeller, another tremendous tournament. 7-foot, 250-pound senior. Fouls on John Kreft. That'll be his first.
Kreft gave them really good minutes in the first half. Played 10, had 7 points and 4 rebounds.
What a year by Tyler Zeller. I don't know if we talk about him or not enough. Zeller won the Skip Prosser Award, the Academic All-American of the Year, ACC Player of the Year. Closed captioning for ACC basketball provided by Bojangles' famous chicken and biscuits.
He has a high basketball IQ too. Is a very subtle in his game, but has been so steady and played such a high level all year long. Very deserving of that Player of the Year honor.
"15 minutes to play in the championship game of the Atlantic Coast Conference. Selection Sunday. Back to Louchs, who looks at the 3. Bang!
Roy Williams just shaking his head on the other side. And it's, Louchs is a guy only 29% from 3 on the year.
Marshall with a hard drive to the bucket. Ahead to Kreft. Just beat Carolina down the other end.
Yeah, what a look ahead by Louchs. He's kind of channeling Kendall Marshall out there with that pass.
Carolina gets a 3. Hairston.
With Barnes on the bench, he's the guy who can knock down 3s.
Gibson into the corner, back outside to Louchs. Shot clock at 10. And Florida State turns it over. ACC fans, make sure you add the ACC Sports app on your Facebook. It's the best way to watch the latest in the Atlantic Coast Conference Tournament. You get analysis, highlights, breaking news, all while sharing with your friends. And all you have to do is search ACC Sports in Facebook.
Florida State's kept this lead. Michael Snaer has been pretty quiet in the second half.
No points in the second half for Snaer. Shot clock at 14. Shot clock at 10. Down to 6. And they get a 3 with 15, with 5 left.
Hairston again. If you're Florida State, they say he's got one guy you got to pay attention to. You got to make sure you stay in his shirt.
P.J. Hairston with a couple of big 3 balls. Center pocket. And Florida State wants a timeout. 13-12 to play in the championship game, 62-54. You are watching the ACC Network, an exclusive production of Raycom Sports. Championship Sunday, the ACC 8-point game. Carolina has climbed back into this, Mike, with a couple of threes by Hairston.
Yeah, they really needed a lift from somebody off the bench, and P.J. Hairston has come in and answered the call. He's third on the team this year with 3-point makes, but he has stepped up big, and that had been a huge area of advantage for Florida State. But 2 shots, and it's back to an 8-point game.
Louchs 10 assists, career high. Florida State ACC tournament record. Previously, Charlie Ward had 8, so those 10 assists are now in the record book by Louchs. The conference championship I mentioned earlier, the 1991 title by Florida State in the Metro. That was Charlie Ward and Douglas Edwards, a couple of good point guards and assist guys there. Shot clock is down to 7. Louchs with a running one-hander made it look too easy.
Well, I tell you what, he grabbed a hold of that possession because it was going nowhere, and he really saved them with that little runner.
Hairston again for 3. Carolina gets it back. Great hustle by Zeller.
Little temperature check shot by P.J. Hairston. Had hit knocked down 2 in a row.
Marshall shot way off.
Forced that time by him. Just barely got it over half court before a 10-second count.
Gibson throws it away, and Snaer gets it back after it's deflected. And Marshall ends up with it. Here goes Carolina again.
I think Snaer is going to try to work himself into the game.
Tyler Zeller brings the Carolina faithful to their feet.
I can't remember the last fast break point they had, Tim, and it's been rare.
And Zeller's been fairly quiet. He's got 15 points, but they've been dispersed. Louchs to Gibson. That's Gibson's first basket. 3 more for Hairston.
We talk about body language, and P.J. Hairston has got that look now. Everything I shoot is going in.
7-point game. Florida State turns it over.
Not a great decision by Snaer that time. There was no room to catch the lob.
How much, Mike, becomes mental now for a team that's been there so often, and Florida State not so much.
Yeah, a team that's won and a team that's trying to win their first game, their first championship.
Tyler Zeller brought emotion back to him, and P.J. Hairston has given him the points. Well, for the coaches in this game, it has been emotional, sometimes fatiguing, certainly inspirational, and sometimes flat out overbearing. The 16-point Florida State lead in the first half has now been dwindled to 7. Let's take a look at our Haviland defensive shield. And we're talking about 2 of the better defensive teams, Mike, in the Atlantic Coast Conference.
No question about it. Of course, Florida State has that reputation, and maybe North Carolina a little underappreciated on that end of the floor. But, you know, you look at it, you asked about the shooting percentage. Florida State 63% in the first half. They're right there again. They're 64% in the second half, and 3 of 5 from 3.
That's high cotton right there, partner. 66-59. Carolina trying to cut into the lead even more. Barnes, turnaround jumper. Zeller with the rebound. Zeller is fouled. The foul is on Louchs. Zeller making his presence felt now. That's 9 rebounds for the big fella.
And this is where North Carolina is hanging in this game at the free throw line. They're a +9 right now. Florida State's done most of their work on the perimeter. They've only shot 3 free throws, making 2.
Zeller makes the first. The ACC Player of the Year has another one coming. He's got 16 points, so he's right at his average.
And it's got to be frustrating for Leonard Hamilton. Talk about how his team is scoring the ball, and North Carolina only down by 5.
Louchs underneath, good pass, blocked, goaltending. Zeller got it off the board.
Good answer that time, good offense, and like back 9 at the Masters, here's when the tournament really starts in the last 10 minutes of the championship game. Barnes getting hung up outside, and a good pump fake by White to get him off his feet.
Hairston went for the 3 and Louchs jumped in. Marshall into the corner. This is for 3. Way too strong. Hairston had a good look. Everybody comes out of the pile pretty spry. They both slipped under the bench over there. John Henson looking on. Hasn't played at all in the last 2 games.
There's a look, and that was a decent job of Louchs keeping Zeller from getting the basketball.
Turnover. Carolina gets it back.
And that's been an issue with Florida State in the second half. They're starting to be a little careless with the basketball.
Hairston this time is fouled by White.
Reggie Bullock is more content to sit on the perimeter and shoot shots, where Hairston will attack the rim. He does get to the free throw line. He has given this team a huge lift.
After hitting those 3s, Mike, they jumped him hard, and he read it and went right around him.
Sets the drive up.
So Hairston at the line, and he's a terrific free throw shooter.
For Florida State, Michael Snaer.
Now Vanderbilt hanging in there with Kentucky, tied at 43. That would be a big upset in the A-10 if St. Bonaventure holds on.
Meanwhile, Hairston has another one. Freshman from Greensboro, North Carolina. Makes them both. He's got 11 points. The lead is back to 5. Remember now, Florida State led by as many as 16 points in this game.
Michael Snaer has to step up here.
Burrow White. Carolina comes away with it. Barnes looks inside to Zeller. Takes it to the baseline, and he carried it. Turnover, Tar Heels. So that gets McAdoo off the bench, and Tyler Zeller goes out. He's changing his shoe. Plural is changing his shoes.
If you change one, you have to change them both.
He'd be running in circles. David is Louchs. Tar Heels have a break. Hairston. Missed the layup. Barnes with putback. 3-point game.
This is when the rim gets a little bit smaller. Let's see how Florida State shoots as this game finishes out.
Bullock cleaned up the mess at the other end to make it a 3-point game. And this is going to be a block against Carolina, I believe.
Here's the look, and this is just a rush up the floor. It's a 4-on-2 break, and there's nothing that Louchs can do. Good work on the weak side by Reggie Bullock.
So the foul is on Barnes. That's his second. And White goes to the line. Carl White is a 75% free throw shooter. He's hit 70 of his 93 free throws this year. And he gets the roll.
Nice answer by Florida State.
come away with it. Back out to Louchs. 15 on the shot clock. 7 on the shot clock. Snaer fires from long range and buries it.
Wow, Louchs right got a hand up too, and this has got to be Michael Snaer's time, Tim.
Barnes right to the basket. 7:40 to play in the championship game. We'll return after these messages from your local ACC station. Harrison Barnes at the line. He's got 18 points. Puts the lead to 8. Barnes, 6'8", 215-pounder from Ames, Iowa. Had 15 points Friday against Maryland. Another solid game yesterday. Coming up big here for the Tar Heels this afternoon. (74-67). Leonard Hamilton wants a clarification. The officials today: Les Jones, Roger Ayers, and Brian Kersey.
It's always a huge honor to officiate in this game, to get through the vetting process and earn your way into the title.
This tournament is the granddaddy of them all. And this may be a league in transition with new coaches and young teams. At the top, still as good as it gets. And the league next year will be even stronger.
Zeller out on Louchs.
Kicks it out. Snaer draws iron.
Had a terrific look at it too.
Barnes has it knocked away. State with a 3-on-1, and it's knocked from behind by Hairston on a terrific defensive play.
Yeah, he really pursued that and saved 2 points, allowing North Carolina now to get set into their defense.
We're about to go under 7 minutes here. And Florida State still shooting over 60% from the field. Kreft goes back out. So it's Gibson, Louchs, Snaer, Louchs. This is Louchs. Taken away. James, he's fouled. And he'll go to the line to shoot 2.
You can see the skyline of North Carolina. It's a lot smaller without John Henson out there. And you really have to block out against Florida State. They've got long, active guys up front. And Bernard James, a terrific offensive rebounder, averaged 3 in the first 2 games of this tournament.
Makes the first. McAdoo will come into the game. B.J. Hairston will go out. Correction. It's Watts that goes out of the game.
Really improved his free throw shooting. Misses on that one, but he's been shooting over 80% the last 5 games of the season.
Marshall, nice dish to Zeller. Has it blocked by James. Outlet pass.
Hairston's made 2 terrific defensive plays.
Snaer was out in front by himself, and you're right, Hairston caught him again and knocked it out of bounds. Saved the easy basket.
I'll tell you what, Michael Snaer is really carrying a heavy load for this team. He's having to defend Kendall Marshall down this end, and then he's got to be their leading scorer down the other end.
Louchs for 3, draws iron. Ahead to Barnes. Hairston again with a nice assist.
Long missed 3s leading to the fast break.
What a terrific championship game.
Every time that North Carolina's gotten it to 6, Florida State's been able to answer.
Snaer with a push-off offensive foul, I do believe, or did they call it on? No, they called it on P.J. Hairston.
Here's the look, and there were not many of those plays in the first half, but North Carolina's done a better job of getting out in the open floor in transition.
.609 to play in the ball game. Louchs turns it over. Just left it for McAdoo. Ahead to Zeller. How about that look by Marshall?
What he does better than any team in the country. Any point guard in the country.
Timeout, Florida State.
There you see the eyes up ahead, and he's just got such a knack for hitting you in stride. Now 9 assists, only 4 in the first half. But Tyler Zeller runs the floor better than any big man in the country. 31 assists for Kendall Marshall, new tournament record.
He's been sensational all the way through. This game here, Florida State led by 16 points at one time. Now it's 75-71 with 5:50 to play. McAdoo almost picked his pocket. Snaer, short. Great follow. Bernard James with a great putback.
Boy, he's been tough on the offensive glass in the last few possessions.
This will belong to the Tar Heels. Reggie Bullock comes back into the game. PJ Hairston will get a breather. Marshall looks up at the clock. Still have 17 on the shot clock. Barnes calls for it and gets it. They call Bullock for going over the top. That's 3 personals.
Trying to tap it out, and you know, I think Barnes wanted to receive that ball a little bit closer. He had dual keys on him and wanted to post, but he had to settle for the jump shot.
So we go under 5 minutes. Dolke's into the lane. It's going to be a block against Zeller.
And he better be careful. Les Jones looking at him. Ooh, that was close. There have been a lot of 50-50 calls, and that's the toughest one for a referee right there.
They just showed it upstairs on the big replay, and the crowd from Chapel Hill letting them hear about it. Dolke's makes the first. Try to make it an 8-point game here. Get it to Marshall. He pulls it fast. Well, Williams said, how about that? Snaer with the grab. Barnes to Zeller. They double him and he's fouled.
Boy, it's just Tyler Zeller is working so hard in the post. It is a battle inside. Gibson a little late coming over on that. Zeller making a living at the free throw line.
Foul is on Bernard James. Carolina will bring it in from under the basket. Boy, McAdoo by himself. Great recovery by the Seminoles. Looked like the door was wide open and it closed in a hurry.
That's what they do to you defensively. It seems like things were there and then they just go away in an instant.
And this foul will be against David Dolke's. That's his third.
And they've done a better job, North Carolina, of really jamming out on the three-point shooters and making them drivers.
Back inside to Bullock with a jump hook and a follow-up by McAdoo.
Much better job on the offensive glass in this second half. McAdoo had really struggled from the floor, so that gives him a little bump of confidence in the last 4 minutes.
79-73. Gibson knocking that shot down.
I mean, he's a capable 15-foot shooter, but given the circumstances, that's a huge pressure shot.
He's 6'11" and hit that shot. Snaer is really tired. He's asking to come out. He's called for the foul. 3:25 to play. And the big fella puts 2 more on the board for the Noles.
Let's revisit our AT&T fast analysis, and it's been points in the paint in this game. Gibson coming up big late, jump shot, but that nice move inside. And then some better offensive board work by North Carolina in the second half. And that's given them a slight edge inside, 40-38, Tim. But North Carolina's advantage in this game has been at the free throw line. Florida State's been at the three-point line.
Well, Carolina's been to the line 20 times, and they hit 17 of them. Florida State just 8 times. Florida State for the first time this afternoon below 60% shooting from the field, so they've cooled off slightly.
And that disparity, not anything the referees are doing, it's just that Florida State has been so effective from outside. They haven't been driving and putting the pressure and getting to the line themselves.
Kendall Marshall makes the first. Kendall Marshall hit the game winner yesterday with 10.2 seconds left against NC State, and he gets the roll on the second one. 6-point game.
They have not been able to crack this barrier. It seems like right when they get it to 6, Florida State has been able to answer.
But they're okay when it's a 2-possession game and this much time left. No panic in Carolina. Florida State now trying to answer. Back to Louchs. Shot clock is down to 10. Shot clock at 5. They go into Kreft and throw it away. Turnovers now for the Seminoles. See the timeouts remaining. Possession arrow belongs to Florida State. Snaer all over Marshall.
Got him to pick up his dribble too. Is fortunate he had a bailout.
And this is going to be called against Louchs. So Luke Louchs picks up his second. And now we're in the bonus. So Hairston will go to the line and shoot 1 and 1.
Talk about he is the best free throw shooter on the team at 86%, and he has been an integral part of North Carolina getting back in this game.
For Hairston, all 12 points have come in the second half.
What's up? Straight in, guys. I got it.
Makes them both. PJ Hairston immediately goes out. Reggie Bullock comes back in. Two and a half to play. Back outside the Louchs. Boy, Bernard James felt that big hand of Zeller. Shot clock down to 11. Underneath. Very good, solid possession.
Wow, Okara White has really been good for this team. That was a terrific up and under pump fake.
Barnes. That's a 2. And Carolina takes a timeout with 1:53 to play in a 4-point game. For Florida State, they have been uncanny beyond the arc, Mike.
No, they have been. It started at the beginning of the game and has been consistent all the way through. Things have tightened up a little bit for them in the last 7 minutes. But this really was how they built that big lead in the first half.
11 of 22 from beyond the arc, and that's our principal financial edge of the game. Oh, look at that difference. 4 of 14 for the Tar Heels.
11 of 22 in a championship game is incredible with the pressure and everything that's on the line. Michael Snaer has been very quiet in this game, and I keep waiting for him to step up and take over.
He took himself out a few minutes ago, Mike, and he was, visibly tired. He got called for a foul when he fell behind and grabbed, and then he asked to come out. He's gotten a little rest.
Talk about it. He's the primary defender on Kendall Marshall. Let's see if North Carolina runs a little run and jump here after the timeout.
Okay, Louchs has it now. Here we go. 1:45 to play. Marshall on Louchs. There's Snaer, gets it back. James looked open for a second, but Zeller gets back under the hoop. Shot clock is down to 7. Louchs takes it to the basket and comes away empty.
I just think they've taken too much time getting into their plays.
Carolina's got numbers. This is 3. McAdoo has it blocked. And it's going to belong to North Carolina.
Well, both teams going offense for defense right now. They're going to get Hairston back in the game and get McAdoo out to get another shooter on the floor.
Louchs is slow getting up. Here it is again.
Here's the play. Watch James come from behind and get the block. A terrific recovery. McAdoo, he couldn't elevate because he got David Louchs was right there.
So the officials go over to the scorer's table. Leonard Hamilton says if they're going to confer, I want my guys over here. And then Carolina goes to Roy Williams. Just letting them know you've got 64 seconds left in the championship game. It's a 4-point differential. Florida State led this game by as many as 16 points. Carolina has just chipped away. Here's your game reset. The fouls and the possession arrow still belongs to Florida State.
This is your best offensive team right now for North Carolina. A bunch of three-point shooters out there.
Under a minute to play. Marshall again picks up his dribble.
Florida State switching everything out on the perimeter.
This is Barnes. Shot clock is down to 10. Barnes for 3. Hairston has his shot blocked.
Right, James has just cleaned up every mistake inside. And it's again those calls have been pretty consistent, physical inside, but they've let him play on both ends.
Every call is being challenged right now. McAdoo comes back into the game. Coral White comes back in. Miller goes out for Florida State. It's a chess match with these coaches.
You got to make sure at all these substitutions that you get your matchup straight.
Officials give thumbs up. We're ready to go. 40.9 seconds left. Barnes. Bullock gets it back. Kendall Marshall off balance. Hits the 3-ball. It looked like it was almost desperation. And he tickled the twine for 3.
He pump faked and really didn't have his legs underneath him, but made a terrific shot. Well, I talk about bailing your team out. Harrison Barnes has been consistently short down the stretch here without any legs, but Watch this again. The pump fake almost looked like he was just trying to buy a foul right there. Big time shot. North Carolina's down one, got the foul.
Well, as the band plays on here, look ahead to the future. This is our Hyundai trip around the Atlantic Coast Conference and future sites as we head back to Greensboro for the ACC Tournament in 2013 through 15. And folks, if you haven't been to one, oh my.
If this doesn't make you want to go to one, we don't know which one, what will. Actually, the guys on the floor, Louchs is the poorest of the free throw shooters at 60%. But he hit some big free throws down the stretch against Miami.
So no shot clock.
And you can run the floor if you're Louchs.
30.1 seconds left in the game. Get it to Miller, back to Louchs, and it's kicked out of bounds. 27.4 seconds left. Carolina made it very difficult on David Estolkis to get the ball in bounds. And now Leonard Hamilton wants a timeout. He had a look at what Carolina was doing, and now he wants to make an adjustment. Couldn't ask for much more than this in a championship game. Here's your game summary, Mike. Great shooting by Florida State from the get-go.
And it's been the free throw line that has been the friend of North Carolina. UNC also been very opportunistic with 22 points off turnovers.
Louchs with a championship record, 13 assists. Kendall Marshall, 15 points, 9 assists, none bigger than the three-pointer he just hit to make it a one-point game.
Well, the key thing here, too, is you get a fresh 10-second count coming out of the backcourt.
But again, the shot clock is off. 27.4 seconds remain. David Estolkis will bring it in again. They get it to White. Back to Dolkis. Dangerous cross-court pass, but they get it down to 17 seconds. And Marshall commits the foul. It'll be a 1-and-1 situation.
Team foul number 7.
Very critical free throws.
Now, Carl White has been terrific in this tournament. 76% from the line, but throw that stat out right now in a one-point game in the championship. Leonard Hamilton will get his best defensive team out on the floor.
Which means Bernard James checks back in. Carl White at the line. Today he's 1 for 1. Missed it. 15 seconds left. Carolina with a chance to win.
Get something going to the rim.
8 seconds. Kendall Marshall. And the foul by Zeller with 3.9 seconds left.
You know, he hit that big three, Tim, but you got to put pressure. It's a one-point game. You don't need a three.
And he's best at driving to the hoop, drive, draw, and dish.
Get it into Zeller or make something happen going to the rim. I know it's an open look. Well, once again, coming in, Louchs with a very good rebound, tracking it down, the perimeter staying in.
David Estolkis 2 for 2 at the line today. Makes the first.
3.9, plenty, especially for this team, plenty of time to get a rush up the floor.
Still a one-possession game.
Yep.
Even with the next free throw. Makes them both. Carolina will have 3.9 seconds left to try to tie this game. What do you look looking for, Mike.
Yeah, and it's, you know, Marshall has hit the three, missed that last one. Look for some sort of screening action, though, coming up the floor. Like I said, just under 4 seconds, plenty of time to advance the ball up and get a decent look.
Bottom line is Carolina won, they advanced. They find themselves here with a chance to tie. But Mike, you're right. A lot of coaches will foul rather than give them a three-pointer.
I'm a proponent of it. I've seen too many bombs in my time, and not a lot of rebounds on missed free throws.
Les Jones hands the ball to Zeller, and here we go. Hairston calls timeout at midcourt with 3.3 seconds left.
Yeah, that's a
good, solid play.
0.4 of a second to cut the court in half.
Well worth it.
Yep, absolutely.
Now that 3.3 seconds, Mike, becomes an eternity when you're at half court. Now you have plenty of time to set your play.
Yeah, you don't have to rush things, and you have that sense. But again, I'm a proponent. It's a little riskier in the front court because you can get burned by trying to get the foul and getting it in the act of shooting of a three and getting him to the three, getting him 3 free throws. But still a good strategy to maybe do it on the catch.
The only thing that can hurt them now is the three-pointer. They're down 3. What a comeback by Carolina today.
Great, very great. You know, we talk about the two teams huddling up. The referees are huddling up right now to talk about what's going on and make sure they get this last play right.
Tar Heels came from 16 down. They have 3.3 seconds left to complete the comeback and tie the game to send it into overtime. Marshall has 1 3. Hairston has 3 threes. Barnes 1 3. Those are your three-point shooters for the Tar Heels.
If you're Florida State, you are defending the three-point line now. That's the only thing that can hurt you. Everybody's switching everything out front.
See if they run a play for Barnes or Hairston. Zeller will bring it in. Get it to Hairston. 1 second. It's good if it goes. And Florida State wins its first ever ACC championship.